I will. It just started.
Okay. I'm just waiting for some people. Maybe somebody's a night owl like I am. Just kidding. I have 2 kids that don't let me craft when they're awake. So I craft when they're asleep. I'm drinking my this is my rhinestone cup with my what is it? Blood orange, sky vodka, and
Fresca.
Skittles and Fresca.
Sour
If
Skittles.
you haven't tried it, you gotta. So he's telling me now that there's a couple people watching. I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about some things that I do to try to save some cups. So this cup, I actually I sanded it down some, and I put some of the Mod Podge on a little bit too thick on the cup, and you can see the white streaks on there.
To back up, that's the fabric cup that
Yes,
you
this
did.
is my fabric cup. With the fabric cup, you have to seal it with Mod Podge about 5 to 10 times so that the epoxy doesn't seep down into the fabric and cause stain-like things all across it. It makes it look like the fabric's wet underneath. So on one of the layers of the Mod Podge that I did, it was too thick and somewhat streaky. So I go to my Sharpie box, my Sharpie and highlighter box. And I grab a Sharpie that is somewhat close to the color of my design that's on the cup that has some of the white streaks on it. And shit. Okay. I take it and I actually start marking up the cup. I kind of smeared a little with my finger. So you can see the streaks are going away. Now some of it is sanding streaks, but you can actually tell the difference if you wet your finger a little bit and you rub it on there. You can tell what's streaks and what's actually the Mod Podge. I didn't see the streaks of Mod Podge until I had already epoxied it. So this is a quick way for you to actually salvage the cup and save it so that you don't have to strip it and start all over again. So you just go through and create little lines and cover up the streaks that's underneath it. I do this with some of my other cups too. I don't know if you guys have seen my Alice in Wonderland cup. It is a complete water slide wrap cup. It's the scene to Through the Looking Glass for Alice in Wonderland. I don't have one on me right now, but if you print out a water slide and you put it on your cup and it's not vibrant and colorful enough, what I'll do is I'll actually I'll epoxy it after I put on the water slide, and I'll go back and I'll sand it. The reason I sand it is so that the ink sticks to the cup. It has like grooves for the ink to grab into. If you do it on a slick surface like this that hasn't been sanded or anything like that, it's just going to rub right off of it. So I go back and I sand it, and I take highlighters and I brighten up some of the areas of it. So if it's got grass, I take in the green highlighter and I brighten that up. It makes the cup 10 times more vibrant. It brings a lot of color to it, and it makes everything just pop. If I do another Alice in Wonderland cup, which is one of my top sellers, I'll probably come on live and tell you guys and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You can go in on any of your cups and do that. You know, instead of completely stripping a cup, you see the bottom's really bad. Down on the bottom, you take a marker, the same marker that I was using, and I'll show you guys the difference between it. Just go through, mark your marker on it, and rub it a little with your finger to kind of spread it out a little bit and fade it into it. And you can tell just with that, it looks completely different. You can't even tell that I've colored it in or made any alterations with a permanent marker. One thing after you do this to a cup, you always want to seal with clear spray paint. And the reason for that is because when you put epoxy on it, the permanent marker will run. Printable vinyl, you can also do the same thing. You can take a permanent marker to it and darken things up. If for some reason, I did a Mickey Mouse one before and the lines weren't as dark as I wanted them to be. So I took a black permanent marker and I outlined them, took a red permanent marker, redid Minnie's bow, and it looked fantastic. Just make sure that you do a couple layers of clear spray paint on it so that it seals, because it will bleed. And then it'll mess up your cup and you'd have to go back and fix it. Another thing that I was going to play with, I have a black cup outside. I just spray painted a black wine glass. I've done a lot of research on the liquid crystal. I don't know if anybody has done any research on it. Liquid crystal is like the stuff that's inside of mood rings. It changes color with temperature change. So if you put your hand on it, it will change colors where your hand was. So I'm going to go outside and grab that in a second, and we're going to mess with some liquid crystal. If any of you guys have messed with liquid crystal before or done anything with it, say in the comments what you did with it, your techniques, your tactics that you used. I found mine at the solarcolordust.com. It's very expensive. It's $20 for this little 10 grams of liquid crystal. They have a lot of other really cool stuff. Like this is iron oxide magnetic iron powder. You can mix it in with your epoxy and make anything magnetic. So if you wanted to, I've seen some people sticking flowers with magnets onto the side of cups. Instead of actually epoxying over a magnet, you could put this, mix this in your epoxy, or do it with some designer clear adhesive, paint it on there, dust this on top of it, and you have a magnet underneath your epoxy. The only thing is that it's black, so that may throw a wrench in some things depending on your cup.
Jacqueline says, hey.
Hi! How many people are watching?
44.
Oh. So hopefully that saves someone from having to strip a cup. I hate stripping a cup, especially if it's a fabric cup. It's terrible. You could do that on pretty much anything. Even some of the cups that have waves on them. If something's not vibrant enough, you can go back in with a permanent marker or highlighter and brighten things up.
You didn't do that on my shipwreck cup, did you? By chance?
No. I didn't do it on your shipwreck cup. I've done it on a couple of, mainly my Alice in Wonderland cups that I do the wrap on. Anything that has colors. When you put the wrap on there, the colors aren't as vibrant as you want them to be. So I always go back in with a highlighter and brighten them up. Permanent marker on something like this or printed vinyl, I do on those. I'm going to run outside real quick and grab our black spray painted cup, wine glass. I'll be right back.
I'll go with you so they can see what you're doing.
So you can see my paint station.
Stacy said, great tip, thanks. And Cody said, I'm bored, show us more.
Okay, so this is my paint station. These are, what are you, Lazy Susans?
You call them dumb weights?
Waiters, something like that. Yeah, I put all my cups on here. Oh, it's still wet. So I can't touch it yet. What else should we do? You want to mess with sublimation? We're set up for so much stuff. Sublimation, water slides. We should set up for everything. Maybe I already have a black painted cup. Let's see if we already have one.
Don't mind the baby gate.
Yeah, there's baby gates everywhere. I don't know if I have another black one.
You got your towel that you had the water slide on, but it's already dried on you.
Yeah, the water slide's already dried on me. I totally wasn't prepared for the ride.
Where's this one? But it's got the rhinestones already on it.
Yeah, that one got the rhinestones on it.
It's the one the daughter started working on and hasn't committed to finishing yet.
So I completely submerged cups and rhinestones.
There's a white cup. I don't know if that would help for
No.
a water slide reason.
All of these rhinestones on this cup are individually placed. You see my nice little skull straw topper that has the rhinestones in the eyes. Yeah, I'm a tough bitch. Not really. I don't know what else to talk about.
Lisa said thanks so much for the water slide tips last week. It was definitely a game changer for me this week.
Yes, if there's anything else you think I should go over, I think the highlighters and the markers are a really good tip. It really is a game changer for everything. To brighten up a cup. Yeah, I just really wanted to go on here and tell somebody about that. I've got my Charmin cup that I can water slide. My water slide decides it wants to behave itself. Has anybody done the Charmin yet?
Is that the one that you did this small one for?
Yeah, so it's going to go on I think this is 11 ounce low ball or a 10 ounce low ball cup. 12 ounce. It's a wine tumbler, but it's called a low baller because it doesn't have any curb or anything like that to it. So these make the best Charmin toilet paper rolls. When you actually water slide them, it looks exactly like a roll of toilet paper. I figured this would be a very big seller during this time. We can water slide that.
Carrie asked, do the straw toppers fit silicone straws?
I have some of those silicone straws that you're talking about. They came with some of these cups. Let's see if they fit. I have not tried them. So this is a silicone straw that I got with another Merchant's cups. Yes, they do fit with the silicone straws. That's actually a good question. I never tried that before.
Now you know. I actually like my silicone straw.
Really?
Yeah, the one I use for my wave cup.
So yeah, those do fit on there. Well, I guess I don't have anything else to go over. I thought my black cup was going to be ready and we would mess with some liquid crystal.
Just do the Charmin cup.
Okay, we'll do the Charmin. So this is a clear water slide. I'm going to cut it out. My printer decided to chew it up a little bit on some of the ends. Cameron said he fixed it. He didn't really.
Hashtag fail. Hashtag I had one job.
Yeah.
Hashtag I'm sorry.
Okay.
Where'd you get your clear water slide? Jasmine asks.
Hmm?
She asked where you got the clear water slide.
I order mine off Amazon. I'll show you the packaging because I know Amazon has like a million of them. This is the one that I use for my clear. Mine is an inkjet printer. So I use this one. I've also used the Haze. I can't really tell the difference between the two of them. They both, since I clear it with a Plasti Dip, they both seem to have the same strength behind them and they both have really good print quality on them. I also have white water slide, which is the Haze brand, but I don't really use this very often because I turn my water slides into white water slides. The only time I use this is when I have a whole sheet that I know I want to do white water slide, and then sometimes it's still kind of iffy because when you put it on a cup, it's still not wide enough for you to not be able to see the background. I did a Lorax cup the other day. I don't know if I posted it on the page or not, but the bottom half of the Lorax was over the blue at the bottom. The bottom half of the cup was blue and the top half was yellow. And you could see the blue through the Lorax's legs, which really bothered me, and I didn't notice it until after I epoxied it. But it was printed on a white water slide. And it was still transparent enough for you to be able to see the color difference, which I wasn't very happy about. But the customer loved the cup, and
Jacqueline asked, can you show which Plasti Dip you use again?
yes, let me go outside and grab it real quick. is the Plasti Dip that I use. It has a clear top on it. I got this from Walmart, I believe. I just ordered 2 more cans today from Amazon. I think it was like $5 per can from Amazon. This is what works the best on them. It also is a UV protectant, so it keeps from discoloration on a water slide. Make sure you get the clear one. I know someone today got a white one as well, and they said that they intended on using it for turning the clear water slide into white water slide, so that's definitely an idea as well. That's a great idea. But yeah, this is the Plasti Dip that I use. It's Glossifier, and this is the glossy kind. I don't know that they make a matte one. And I always get the one
you could
with
probably put a link to it.
I did.
In the
I
comments.
put it on my last video.
Yeah.
I put a link to it in Amazon. But they do sell it at Walmart and as well as Lowe's and Home Depot and other places like that.
Jasmine said thank you about the water slide. She was having trouble finding some. Jacqueline said thank you. Jasmine said I need that spray. Do you just use that spray? So if you go back and look at the video that she did before, it goes in depth about how she does the clears. But the main thing to take away from it was that she does clear, a matte clear coat, lets it dry, puts the Plasti Dip that she's holding now, lets it dry, and then goes and does a matte clear coat again and lets it dry. And then those are going to give you enough strength where they won't crack and whatnot.
Yeah, and I've actually had a lot of people message me and tell me that the method worked very well for them, that they absolutely hated water slides before, and that the Plasti Dip is a complete game changer. I hated water slides before. I despised them. He heard me in here cussing in my craft room. I hated them so bad because they would rip and crack and tear, and the ink, you would rub them and the ink would just come off all over the cup. It was a nightmare.
And if I remember correctly, I think you called me at work once you Plasti Dipped one and just
Yes.
said, I have to tell you.
I called
Plasti
him
Dip changed my
while
whole
he was
life.
at work after I got my first can of Plasti Dip, and I called him just to tell him that the water slides were rubbery and thick. They weren't, the ink wasn't coming off from them. They weren't cracking or tearing or ripping or anything like that. And he was just as excited for me as I was for me, because he's heard me cuss about them all the time. I hated water slides, but now I will do words in water slides.
Yeah. Instead of weeding vinyl, it seems like it's easier
so
to...
this is a pig cup that I did, and I went back and added the customer's name to it because she said she wanted her name added to it. So all of this is water slide. These are little glitter pieces, the pigs. So it was just the pig right here before, but I went into the software and I actually color matched this to parts of the pig so that she could have her name on there. And I did that in a water slide, so I didn't even have to try and match it with a colored vinyl. So it just made it a lot easier for me.
She said, I loved water slide before Plasti Dip and now I'm obsessed.
Yes.
Carrie said, does water slide paper work like tattoo paper?
You can have it to work like tattoo paper as long as you flip the image, as long as you mirror the image. So when you print it out, it looks like backwards, and you can put the backwards paper up against your cup and wet the back of it, and it will come off onto the cup. You have to kind of give it a little bit of
Wiggle?
little wiggle, and a little bit of, picking at it to try and get it to come off. But once you get that little edge down where the clear has come off and you just peel that backing, it'll just stick to your cup.
Yeah, Jacqueline said, I can't wait to try it. And Jasmine said, okay, awesome. You're a big help.
You're welcome. I guess we're going to go and water slide the Charmin cup.
Have you already sealed it?
Yes, it's already been sealed. Yes.
So you did basically what we just talked about.
I did the matte clear, I did the Plasti Dip, and the matte clear again on the cup.
Awesome.
So
Into the trusty kitchen.
into the trusty kitchen.
Or as you called it before, your handy dandy oven.
Handy dandy oven. It is my handy dandy oven, especially for wraps. Don't mind my liquor obsession. So baking sheet. Ooh, there's kale on the kitchen table. On the stove.
Where do we get the tattoo images?
I get them all from Google. I create all of my images inside of Silhouette software. I believe I have the Designer Plus edition, And the Designer Plus edition actually has a tracing feature. I think even on the free one it had a tracing feature on it.
It did.
That you just trace the image or you erase parts that you don't want. And I've gotten actually really good at it. So I've been able to create a lot of the images that I use if it's not already a whole image within itself that I just copy and paste from Google and print them out. So I'm going to roll my cup in some water, line it up against the edge of my stove,
Wiggle it.
wiggle it. Now this is lukewarm water. It will work in cold water as well. It's stuck pretty good.
So do you buy paper for it differently than water slide paper? No, that's what she uses is water slide paper.
Yeah, I just use water slide paper. Some people do the images, print them out on actual printer paper and seal them with Mod Podge, and then do several layers of Mod Podge over them. So I get my whole water slide in the paper and it's just kind of floating around. I take the edges and I put it up on my cup.
Jasmine said, does the water need to be warm or just regular room temp? Either's fine.
Either is fine. I've done it with cold water. I've done it with hot water. Not hot water, but warm water. And you'll see I lined it up on the edge right here. And the water slide is still in my pan in the water because they do dry out fast. And when they dry out and you're still trying to apply them, they start sticking to each other and all that fun stuff. So,
Where'd you get the cup from?
I actually got this cup on Amazon. I couldn't find one on my normal go-to places where I order cups from, so I had to go to Amazon and get this cup. So, you'll see it's stuck all the way around. And you just want to go through and press all the water out of it. And if there's like an edge that's kind of tucked under, I've taken the tweezers or the hooks that I actually do the weeding for with the vinyl, and I'll stick it underneath there and I'll try to fold it back out. Or you can just flip the whole piece over and then try to pick the edge off.
Pat, or you, if it's like, as you're going, she's wet it before.
Yeah, I'll peel it back off and stick it back in my water.
The size of the cup's what, 10 ounce you said? 11 ounce?
It's a 12 ounce. 12 ounce, I believe is what it was.
It's 12 ounce wine glass,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually a stainless steel.
Yeah, it's a stainless steel wine glass. It comes with a lid and everything. And then I get a paper towel. Dab it in some of the water.
Jasmine said you made it look easy.
That's what everybody says. It is really easy, especially when you do it this way.
The sealing is probably the major part of it, I would say.
It's the more... So I ordered a laser printer today. He convinced me... No, actually I didn't order it yet. But it's in my car. But he told me to. But I'm nervous about the sealing process. If the water slides for a laser printer are as delicate as the ones for an inkjet printer, and how it would be sealing a water slide for a laser printer even though it doesn't need to be sealed. That's my big question. So I'm kind of concerned, why fix something if it's not broken?
She doesn't sell her digital water slide, or she doesn't sell the water slides as digital downloads, Miss Lisa.
Mm-mm.
She just downloads a lot of them by Google, but if need be, if you need her to
if somebody
help send some, or
needs me to send a water slide or something like that, I mailed out a couple of labels today for the Jack Daniels cup, and then I did somebody's name that I mailed to them because they didn't get it the first time, so I mailed it out again to them, hoping I put tracking on it this time. So I know they'll get it this time.
Shannon said that cup is cute.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere else and I thought it was super cute. So it looks like a roll of toilet paper.
A single roll.
A single roll of toilet paper. It's one mega roll. See, it equals 4. Yeah. So.
Where'd you get the image for the Charmin?
I found it in. I think I found it on Google. It was for a mega roll of Charmin toilet paper.
Some of the stuff we've actually created.
Yeah, a lot of my my Clorox cups and my Lysol cups I actually created. I'd go on and I'd actually crop the top of the can off of a picture on Walmart. And I'd crop the picture out, and then I'd go and find the picture of the back label, and I would crop that out, and I would put the two together and then print them out on a water slide, and fit them to the size of my cup, and then print them out. But that's how I actually do it. As I go and I find the images, I crop them, copy and paste them to my Silhouette software, put the two together so it looks like it flows evenly, you know, from the front label to the back instructions label of the can, and then I just print them out as a whole and I wrap them completely all together. You saw this one was a complete cup wrap. That was, you know, I didn't cut it apart or anything like that. You can cut them apart and you can make a bigger gap in between the label and the back label. But I found that it's just more aggravating that way because you have two pieces of water slide that's moving around on you and trying to get all of it straight and wrinkle free, as opposed to just having one that you're having to worry about.
Jasmine said, how long do you let each seal set before spraying the next 2 coats on them, and how long do you let it set before applying to the cup? She lets the first coat dry, second coat dry, third coat dry, and then I think you actually let it set overnight.
Yeah, sometimes I'll let it set overnight. The one that I did on my last live, I actually did it 10 minutes before going live, and in that video you can see where it was completely perfect. I probably gave it 2 to 3 minutes in between layers of sealing them for the next layer, and then it probably dried for maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I applied it to my cup. So that one was a very fast one, and I actually have that cup. I've already epoxied it so I can show you guys what it looks like, and I also wanted to show you what the bubbles look like underneath the epoxy so that you guys can see what I was talking about if you don't get all the water out, what it looks like. That one actually got a bubble underneath the UPC code. So you could see how it's somewhat discolored, but it's not enough for you to strip it and start over. So we can go back in there and I'll show you that one.
So Cody said, so neat, thank you for doing this for us. I'm still afraid to do water slide. So was she.
Yeah,
Miss
I was
Cody.
very afraid to do water slide.
She did not want to do them, and then once she jumped on, she hated them, and then once she started sealing them like she does now, she loves them and does them more than she does vinyl.
Yeah,
so,
I don't mess with vinyl that much unless I'm doing an outline or something like that.
Lisa said she started doing water slides with a laser printer, and they're thin and they mess up easily. Now after the steps last week, she loves doing them with inkjet better, even though they are more time consuming.
See, that's what I wanted to know. That's why I didn't order that one yet today, was because I was concerned about them being as fragile as those are, and what would happen if you did seal them. I believe someone else messaged me, tagged me in a post, and said that they tried those steps, and I think she said that she had a laser printer, and when she put the epoxy on, it actually cracked under the epoxy. The water slide had crack marks through it. So, and I have no idea what caused that, not unless it was just because it was a laser printed water slide. That's the only thing that I can think it was, and she sealed it with Plasti Dip. But I just don't want to drop. I think the one that I was looking at was like 120 bucks. It was on sale from 199. So, you know, I just don't want to drop that kind of money in something and then not be able to use it when what I have isn't broken and it's working just fine, just for me to get frustrated and throw the laser printer out in the road somewhere. Because I will. So this is the cup that I did the other day with the water slide, the full cup wrap. You can see kind of right here where the UPC code is, there's a bubble underneath there. That's actually water. You can feel this bubble through the epoxy as well. There's a little bit of a discoloration to it. Yeah, so I didn't realize that was there. It didn't mess with the epoxy any or anything like that. And sometimes you'll get some discoloration in it. If you look at it at an angle from there, you can see the color difference in it. I've actually stripped quite a few of them because the color difference was really bad. It looked like some of the ink had spots on them right in the front where you don't want it every time. And it would have like a white spot with like the ink puddled around it. I stripped 2 or 3 of those. The lady knows that ordered all 14 of these, knows that it's quality control is really hard on these, and I explained that to her, so she knows that 14 of them I'll probably make 8 to 10 and then probably redo, 4 more maybe. But the better you get with your water slides, and with me applying these the way that I do now and getting all of the water out of them, I learned my lesson a little bit more. So the quality control isn't as bad as it was when I first started her order. So I'll probably get 12 out and then maybe redo 2 of them, which isn't too bad.
Lisa said the lady that has the laser printer says she'll test one this week by sealing it for you and let you know what happens.
Yes.
Kendra says she uses a laser with no issues. Kara said, I love doing water slides. I have a brother printer and I seal my water slides with Mod Podge. Interesting. Yeah. Emily says, I don't understand the hype about the Clorox tumblers. And then,
Actually, I had somebody get nasty with me because they said that a kid was going to drink out of this. Like,
really?
yeah, I had somebody get in my inbox and get really nasty from another group, not this page. Got really nasty with me and said that, this was bad for kids to see, like the whole Tide Pod thing. They're going to try and drink a bottle of the Clorox wipes. These are for grown adults that work in the hospital. They're nurses that work in Memorial Hospital in Savannah. So I don't know that they'd be around a lot of kids. My kids know the difference. I teach them the difference, that this is a cup and
Yeah,
Clorox wipes
obviously.
is Clorox wipes. I said sorry to the lady that I offended her with my Clorox cups. People ordered them, so that's why I made them. And she got nasty some more, and then she blocked me or something like that, so it was fine. But,
Shannon said, how do you strip your cups?
So say I was going to strip this cup. I'd take I take one of my cutters and I go down and I gouge marks in it so that the acetone goes straight underneath the epoxy. I actually have a couple of them stripping right now. Let me go grab one. And I'll show you how I have them wrapped up.
Emily said you should probably be keeping chemicals away from your kids anyway. No, we leave ours open so that our kids can have access to them. Because we actually give our 1-year-old a Tide Pod a day. So
yeah, he's grown accustomed to them. So when he gets older and there's a Tide Pod challenge,
totally joking. We're joking.
He'll totally survive. We're just kidding. It's a joke. So these are actually some of those. Well,
that was not made to offend anybody, by the way.
No, it wasn't.
If anybody's had anybody who's been hurt by a Tide Pod, I'm sorry, that did not mean to.
So
anyway.
This is how I do them. So this is a cup that I did. I was trying to duplicate a cup. I think of someone in this group. It was a neon cup, and I still have it. And it didn't go so successful. So I gouge marks into the epoxy. I gouge marks into it with a knife all the way through it. I wrap it up in a paper towel and I douse it in acetone. And then this one's been soaking for a little while. You can tell it's jellified. So I soak it in acetone with a paper towel around it, and I make sure the bottom is very important. Wrap it up and make sure that that is completely covered and soaked in acetone, and then I wrap it up inside of tin foil. Make sure it's nice and closed, and then I put it inside of a plastic bag. Acetone dries very fast, so if you leave it out in the open, it's going to evaporate really fast. It's going to dry. So I always keep it in a plastic bag, and so my kids don't get a hold of it. Acetone is terrible, so... and then they sit in my sink for about a week until I unwrap them and peel all of the goopies off. and then start all over again.
Yeah, Megan said to use the squeegee to get the water out. I'm assuming the water slides. She uses a paper towel most of the time.
I use a wet paper towel. I'm afraid that a squeegee would probably grab a hold of it because it has rubber on the end and it'd probably grab a hold of it and rip it. So I'd be afraid to do that. But I use a wet paper towel, a damp paper towel, I just go over it, and I just go from the middle to the ends, you know, from top to bottom to get all of the water out. If you try to do it the other way, you're going to be working for a while. And you can actually feel when water's coming out of it because you'll feel it flinging all over the whatever you're with. My stove, it'll fling all over my stove from underneath the water slide. Make sure that there's no bubbles, no water or anything in there. I let it dry for most of the time overnight because I'm terrified of the bubbles. I've stripped quite a few cups because of those damn bubbles in them and the water.
Emily said that, I'm assuming she just wanted to make sure that we weren't getting offended. She said, I didn't mean y'all, I just said you in general.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to offend us, so you're not going to offend me. I wonder if my cup's dry now.
Your black one?
But yeah, everybody asked me how this cup, they wanted to see how it turned out. Now, it does have sand marks, of course, and I've got to go back through and touch up some of the red, but that's how it turned out. When you cut the rim on your cup, I usually cut it before I do my last layer of epoxy. I sealed it again with Mod Podge around the edge to make sure that there wasn't going to be any open space underneath the fabric, between the cup and the fabric, for when I do my next layer of epoxy. So I just go through and I cut it completely smooth. And then I did a layer of Mod Podge around the rim, and I'll probably do another layer, and then I will epoxy again, and I'll let it ride.
Shannon said, have you ever used misprint cups?
Mm-mm.
That's the first I've heard too.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Kendra asked, what kind of sealer do you use to seal your water slide? We went over that a little bit more in her previous live.
Yeah, I do the clear
acrylic.
Matte, acrylic paint by Rust-Oleum. And then I use the Plasti-Dip, which is the Glossifier Plasti-Dip. And then I go back over it again with the matte clear acrylic sealer. Now, I was on a video call with someone yesterday, and she said that she would do her water slides like way back here. And she would just spritz it once or twice. Like, I get up on my water slides and I make sure I can see it on there before, you know, with each layer. With each layer, I make sure that I can see that it's wet on the water slide. So I get, you know, relatively close up to it. I probably get about 6 inches to 12 inches away. And I douse it down really good. And I do that with every layer.
Jasmine says she loves your bling cup.
Oh, thank you. This is about 3,000 rhinestones. I did my name in vinyl, and then I went over it with some pink rhinestones. This is my drinking cup. If you ever see me holding this cup, I'm drinking in it. This is, yeah, it's my liquor only cup.
Emily said we're her kind of people. Then Kari, I don't want to mispronounce it, says the bling cup. I've been wanting to do one. And
yes, I have one in the works. I have one for Cameron's mom that I've been working on. I can go grab that one and show you guys.
Yeah, and Kendra said, let's see the bling cup. How did you do it?
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm back. So, this is my rhinestone box. This is all my glitter and epoxy and crap, and this is my rhinestone box. I foresee it getting a lot bigger. So this is the one that I've been working on. So I use, on these, you use the Liquid Fusion. I got this off of Amazon. I use the clear Liquid Fusion. There's also a white one that I saw somewhere that you can use. There is a pen that you use with it, but I think mine melted somewhere.
It's not still in the car, is it?
Probably. Oh, it's right here. So this is a rhinestone pen. I got this off of Amazon with some of my other stuff, some of my little things, my little kits with rhinestones and stuff. Now, the important thing is that these are not hot fix rhinestones. They are not hot fix rhinestones. So you go through and you do a little line of glue, and then, so I keep my rhinestones in this little jar.
Baby food jar.
Baby food jar, yeah. It was my organic baby food that I was making for my son until at like 4 months. Or no, it was like 7 months he started eating adult food. They grow up fast, don't they? So some people look at me and ask me how I sit here and I stick all of these rhinestones like this. It's actually more therapeutic than people would expect. So you do a layer of glue. Well, my glue stopped up. Hold on. That happens often. After it's been sitting for a little while.
Kendra said we're great. Jasmine says I love Amazon.
Girl, the Amazon man knows my name.
And Shannon said you must have great patience. I have any props. I give anyone props for doing a bling tumbler.
So you would be surprised. I don't have as much patience as you would think.
Her fuse is short.
I have a very short fuse.
Mostly when it comes to people, though. So, like, I guess in your silhouette, because you oftentimes will blow up on it. But
yeah.
Let me see. Lisa asks, does it make a difference if you have the hot fix? Will they come off?
Yes, hot fix has a black backing on it, and what happens is they cause, it's glue on the back of them, and they don't adhere to anything until you get them hot. So what happens is they don't stick very well with the glue directly onto the cup because of that glue backing. That you have to get them very hot for that glue to melt.
You like bake them on, don't you, or no?
You can bake them on. They also have a hot fix gun. I have one somewhere. I have everything somewhere. But yeah, you have to. It's like a little gun. Oh, I got it. That you put over the rhinestone, and you have to hold it there for a couple seconds, and then it melts to it.
Oh,
it
God.
melts the backing. Yeah.
That sounds time consuming.
So if you thought that this looks time consuming, try some hot fix. So you do a good bit of glue right there. You can see some of the color change on there. And then you take this end of it, it's all, don't look at my janky little thing, but it melted in the car. They melt, by the way, just so you know. You take it and you pick up a stone and you put it on there. This is actually called the honeycomb method because of the way that they are staggered. So if you look at them, you know, each row is the next line of stones is in between the ones below it. So it's actually the honeycomb method. So I had someone ask me if they could just have the design, just a design on the cup, like a skull. She wanted a skull. And she just wanted the skull in rhinestones. Nothing else. So the point of an entire rhinestone cup is that they are supposed to keep each other's integrity together. So if I just had this, they would all fall off because the rhinestones keep each other together.
Speaking of which, there's...
Yeah, one has already fallen off because it's not strong enough by themselves. So just like that, I'd probably just stuck like 6 or 7 of them. And then the liquid fusion dries super quick. And I actually had one that dried, I guess it got bumped after I had done it. Sometimes you can touch them and they'll move. Well, it dried in the wrong spot. So when I tried to go back over and do another row after it had dried, I couldn't get it off. I took a knife to it. I took a butter knife to it, a straight knife. I took a pair of scissors to it to try and get it off. I had to literally pry that thing off. It was so hard to get one. It took me about 20 minutes to get one rhinestone off this cup. And I've had this one for about 2 months now.
Use it every day.
And I use it every single day. I wash it every single day before I start using it. And I've maybe had 1 or 2 pop off.
People asking where you get the stones.
These stones Tammy should start selling the stones. Just saying, hey Tammy. I think you should start selling them. But a lot of them came from Amazon. These ones all came from Amazon, which are the main ones that I use. Yeah, most of them, and then there's some that I got from Be Createful, but they aren't as pretty as the ones that I got from Amazon.
All right, so Jasmine said I did 2 rhinestone tumbers. I love them, but with 2 babies, it's kind of hard to do anymore. She has the same problem with a little one. He likes to eat them.
Yes,
he's one.
He likes to try to eat the end of the glue.
He tries to eat everything.
Or knock them off the counter and then...
Jennifer says, thanks for inviting us into your private workspace. You're welcome.
You're very welcome. You guys are always welcome in my private workspace.
This is the public private workspace. So, Shannon, do you epoxy it once you finish?
No. No. So, I learned a lesson when I first started messing with rhinestones. And I say it like that because you will ruin all of your time on these cups if you do. So the epoxy has facets in them. And it's little cuts in them that give them the sparkle that they have.
The rhinestones have facets.
The rhinestones have
You
facets.
said the epoxy.
No. So if you epoxy them, it takes away those facets off of the rhinestones. And it makes them look like they're smooth. I have a pop socket somewhere that I rhinestoned. And then I put epoxy over it because I thought that they would come off. Well, now it just looks like metal stuck to this pop socket because it took all of the sparkle out of the rhinestones. It made them smooth instead of having all of the cuts in them like they're supposed to, like a diamond or anything like that. Like, it was depressing. And I wasted a lot of rhinestones. So, no, don't epoxy them. The Liquid Fusion keeps them on there very, very good. I've had maybe 1 or 2 pop off at the top, which is somewhat expected because at the top they don't have anything that's holding them together like all of these do. I have not had any of these pop off really. And then if they do, it may have been that the glue was too thin of a layer. So on this cup that I'm actually doing for his mom, I put a thicker layer of glue in it, on it each row to make sure that they are on there really good.
Cool. Shannon said back to the water slide. Did you say did I hear you say you made clear water slide white? If so, how? I don't know if you want to go over that again.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you...
So I mirror the image on my silhouette before I print out my water slides. So when I print them out, they read backwards, just as if you're printing out HTV on a shirt. So I clear them. I go outside and I clear the water slide. I put Plasti Dip on the water slide, and I put another layer of clear. Now after I do that, I cut out the shape that I want my water slide to be. So if it's an image like my Lorax, I could have cut the Lorax out, just like you would with a normal white water slide. So after I've cut it out, and it's down to the size that I want it to be, I go back outside and I spray paint it white. And the reason I do that is because, so this is your water slide and it's backwards. So you spray paint this side white. This side right here is the paper backing and the other side of the water slide. So when you pull the paper backing off of it, you see the side of the water slide that you want to stay up. And since it was mirrored on this side of the water slide, this side reads correctly because you flipped it over, just like an HTV does. When you cut HTV and you stick it on your shirt, it has to be stuck down, but you cut it backwards. It's exactly like that. So you just spray it with white spray paint.
All right, so Jessica said, joining in late, sorry if this has already been said, but what glue do you use for the rhinestones? You probably could hit that again.
Liquid Fusion. I get this off of Amazon. This is the best glue that I found for it. I did buy a white one that's supposed to dry clear, but I haven't read very good reviews on it. So I don't plan on using it. This one was a little bit pricey. I think it was $8 for that bottle, but it's gone a very long way. It's up to about right there, and I've done 2 cups with it. And it's a 4-ounce bottle.
Robin said, first time watching you with the emoji with the sunglasses. Kendra said, that's my next project is a rhinestone cup. Emily says, pop sockets are my favorite rhinestone. Cody says, E6000 terrible if you'll be drinking from a straw.
Yeah, I don't use E6000 on the rhinestones. And like these, I don't use any type of glue, you know, and I do drink from a straw from all of my cups. I wouldn't actually drink out of the cup itself. I would always send it with a straw. I know some people put E6000 on their molds to glue them together or something like that. Epoxy is always best if you can do like the UV epoxy, and then hit it with a UV light so it glues together like some of these. It's two sides. I haven't done the other side yet, but you take it apart and you glue the two together. You can actually do that with UV resin, or you could actually, I think Tammy said that you can do it with regular epoxy and just let it sit there on top of each other once you glue them together.
Jennifer said, if one should expect stones to pop off periodically, if you were to sell a rhinestone tumbler, do you send extra stones?
Yes, I plan on sending extra stones with this cup, and I also plan on sending like a little container like this of glue with it, so that they can like dab some glue on the cup and stick their rhinestone back on. Yes, I do plan on doing that. I plan on sending a little baggie with rhinestones.
Jasmine said, wait, so I was going to do a glitter tumbler with rhinestones after I epoxy the glitter, so the rhinestones will pop off without all the rest of the rhinestones holding it together?
So here is the tactic. Let me grab my cup that I did. I'll grab this one because it doesn't have a name on it. So I did one of Tammy's Classy Bitches Drink Wine cups. And this has rhinestones on it. So this was done. I glittered the cup. I did several layers of epoxy on it until it was completely smooth. And then I went back and my final layer of epoxy, I let it sit for probably about 2 or 3 hours before I went back. And I stuck these rhinestones into the tacky epoxy. These will not come off because they're stuck down in the epoxy pretty good. You can see that they're pretty good in there. Now, if I went back over this with more epoxy, you probably would not be able to see the sparkle of the rhinestones like you would want to. It would take out the facets of it, but since this one is just in there a couple centimeters, you can still see the facets on the rhinestones. But yeah, I stuck those into the epoxy when the epoxy was still tacky. You want to make sure that it's not wet enough that it's going to slide around or move out of place or anything like that. And then I made sure I tapped them into place with
Hammer. Just kidding.
No, with my epoxy stick, I tapped them into place, you know, after I cleaned it off to make sure that they were in there good and they weren't going to move or go anywhere.
Yep. Janessa says, I wish I could hear. Please save this live. We'll make sure we save it. If you're having trouble hearing us, just say so.
Yeah.
Jennifer said, I guess she's following up on the rhinestone question with the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Said, how would you handle that if a customer, as far as doing the stones or whatever, giving the extra stones and the glue? Pretty much like she said.
Yeah, I would give
extra
glue, and I would do a little container of glue. And as long as it was in an airtight type jar or something like that, it wouldn't dry out. And then I would send a little baggie of some rhinestones just in case they lost a couple of them. I think I've lost a total of 3 in all of the time that I've used my cup, and I use it every single day. So I haven't really lost any. Maybe 3.
Jessica said thank you. Shannon said you guys are cool. Thanks for sharing. Jennifer said E6000's toxic, so liquid fusion's better.
Yes.
Amber says hi.
Hi.
Jasmine says, okay, good to know. Thank you. I'll make sure to use a hammer. And Latrinda
Don't
said,
take him seriously. He thinks he's funny.
Latrinda says that's beautiful. Kendra says, what size rhinestones do you use?
So that is a very good question. The rhinestones go in millimeters, but you will also see that they go in what's called an SS. So so these are a 4 millimeter, and these are that's the same thing. And these are a 5 millimeter. So if I remember correctly, there's like a 16SS, which is the 5mm, and the higher the number that goes, I believe the bigger they are. I know it usually goes the opposite direction, but yeah, so the ones that are on this cup is a 5mm that I'm using. Now in between the name, I have a set of these small ones that I got on Amazon that I actually go in between the letters of the name and I stick in there because of course with those, you know, there's, ew, my hair, small spaces that you need to fill in. So I will use the smaller ones, and I use all different sizes inside of the name. I try to use as many of the same size that are on the outside of the cup as the inside of the cup, so you can't see a huge variation in the sizes. My cup, I did the name last on it, so it was harder for me to gauge the sizes, you know, to try and fill with the bigger ones as much as I could. So there are a lot more smaller sizes and a big variation in sizes in mine. This was my first cup that I've ever done. But with this one, I did the name first and I went back with the rhinestones after. And I think it looks a lot better. It's not completely done yet, obviously, but you can tell that the name is very visible, and that the bigger stones are the majority of the stones that are around the name, which pushes forward the name because the name is in smaller stones.
Cool. So, yep, you're welcome, Jennifer. Sorry about the mix-up. She said that we had already addressed it, so we just addressed it again.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine. She thought there was a lag. Kendra said thank you. Lisa said, just curious about the epoxy. Can you do coffee mugs? Also, are they microwave safe with no stones? Dishwasher for the cups, top rack.
So I hand wash my rhinestone cups. You can epoxy coffee mugs, but they are not recommended to go into the microwave. The ceramic ones, if that's the ones you're talking about. I wouldn't stick any of the cups like that in the microwave, especially the metal ones, because that might cause a fire or something. I started my kitchen on fire when I was younger from a fork, so. But no, I wouldn't stick it in the microwave. Now the cups that just have vinyl on them, the 651, he has some that we had done before I ever started doing cups, and we stick them in the bottom rack of the dishwasher, and I can't get the damn vinyl to come off to save my life. So with the vinyl it's fine, but
if it's just vinyl with no epoxy.
No epoxy. Now the epoxy that I use says that it's rated for 500 degrees or higher. It says or higher. I don't know why I would say that, but I don't think the dishwasher gets 500 degrees. But I tell my customers that my epoxy is rated for that amount, but I would never recommend them to stick it into the dishwasher because I'm afraid that it would mess up their cup. I would never want to give my customer the idea to stick it in the dishwasher to mess up their cup. Now, if they accidentally did it or something, like, hey, how did that go for you? You know, I know it was an accident, but did it mess it up? Like, I would want to know. But I would never recommend my customer to stick it in the dishwasher.
Yeah, she gives care cards with all of her cups.
Yes, I give care cards with all of mine, and I also give my business card. I'll show you my care cards. These are print to cut. Tumbler care instructions.
Kendra says you need to share your Amazon cart.
My Amazon
with
cart?
her.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to see what was in my Amazon cart.
And Allison asked, do you vinyl the name on first? If that's in reference to the rhinestone cup,
yes,
she does.
I do. I do vinyl the name on first with the vinyl that is the close to a matching color of the rhinestones that I'm going to use. That's the best idea. And then to rhinestone the name first and then do all the layers around it is the best way to do it. I did it ass backwards on mine, so I'll probably do another one day when I catch up on cup orders, which I don't see it being any day soon.
And Jessica said, for someone just getting into rhinestones, what would be a good range of sizes to buy to get started?
I would definitely start with the 5mm, which are these. I would start with the bigger ones. If you start with the small ones, you're never going to want to touch it again because there's so many of them. Don't do it. I can't see that well. I'm legally blind, you guys, and my eyes are terrible. So seeing these is not as bad for my eyes, but when I get to the little tiny 2mm ones, I'm struggling. So I wouldn't do those. I've seen people do cups in them, and I bow down to them because I can't do it. I just can't, no. Not at all. But yeah, these are my care cards. I put them in every single one of my cups that goes out, even if it's a repeat customer, because I don't know if they're going to gift the cup or give it as a Christmas present, or, you know, I have one of my customers, she works at the hospital, and she orders cups through her for everybody else that's in her hospital. And then she just brings me the money and picks up the cups and gives them to the people there. So I put it in every single one of my cups. Every single one of them. And then this is my business card. Of course, the care instructions are print and cut. And then the business cards are, I get them from Vistaprint. On the back of them, it's a 10% off coupon for, you know, customers to come back and get more stuff from me. Those seem to have increased my sales significantly because everybody's like, oh, here, have this business card for her. You know, she does great cups. You wouldn't believe how many cups orders that I've gotten from just word of mouth. It's insane. People are blowing up my Facebook page now because the whole name has gotten out there and the picture, you know, the cups that they have. And when they have a cup or a card in their wallet that they took out of their cup, they just hand it to somebody else, and there you go, you have a brand new customer, and that customer is going to get you 3 to 5 more customers. That is going to get you, you know, it just continues to grow.
Robin asked, can I ask how many cups you do at a time?
I have 12 cup turners that I can do at a time, so I can do 12 cups at a time. I probably do, I've worked on probably 8 to 12 cups at a time. I have 8 to 12 of them going because some of them, you know, the water slide cups have to sit overnight. So I'll start working on another cup, and I'll glitter this cup, and I'll glitter that cup, and then I'll spray paint this one, and then I'll do the water slides on it and let that dry overnight. So I usually have a lot of them going at once. Right now I'm kind of slacking. I have a lot of cup orders, but I got a lot of them out. And just as soon as I deliver one, they call me the next day and they want to order 7 more. So it's just my luck. But
Lisa asked, do you seal a do not microwave or dishwasher label on the bottom, or have you?
I have not, but I know people have done water slides on the bottom, and I think that's a really good idea. I know some people say that their customers complain about the label on the bottom or their business name on the bottom. It's really just a personal preference. I haven't ever had a customer say, if you put this on the bottom of my cup, I'm never going to order from you again. But I don't put any label on the bottom of my cup. But that is a very good idea for the people that I didn't get a Tumbler care card in my cup and I didn't know anything about that. Well, it's printed on the bottom of your cup, so you can't say that you didn't know about it because it's right there in plain sight. So that's a very good idea. But if I was to do it, I would probably do it with a water slide. If I could, if it was a light colored cup.
Cool. And then Robin said, thank you, you're amazing.
Thanks. I try. I didn't have as much information for you guys today as I normally do. I planned on doing my wine glass with the, I don't know if anybody's messed with liquid crystal, but I looked up how to apply it, and my cup should be dry, so I'll be right back.
Oh, the alarm.
I'm just trying to break in my own house, don't mind me. It's kind of cold outside, so, you know. So from what I read, there are different color stages of liquid crystal, which means you can have a 6 color change liquid crystal, and you can have a 12 color change liquid crystal. I got the Mac Daddy of the Mac Daddy, which is the 12 color, pure form, 10 grams of liquid crystal. So, from what I have read, it's our little experiment here today. You put it on. You can put it in one of these cups, pour some in there. Now, supposedly this jar is supposed to be enough to do a few cups. It's supposed to go a very long way. And we're about to see exactly how long it goes, how far it goes.
How long and far?
How long and far. That's what she said. So, I was told to water it down with just a little bit of water just to make it a little bit more liquidy, because it's kind of a thicker consistency.
Lisa said, how long have you been doing epoxy on tumblers? You may have answered this. Sorry, first time.
Oh, no, you're fine. I've been doing it for about 8 months.
Probably.
My first cup was a fabric cup that looks exactly like the one that I'm working on.
You started in, what, September?
Yeah. I know I ordered all my stuff like back in September. So, liquid crystal, a drop or two of water. Then you mix it up a little bit. It kind of smells pretty. It smells like vanilla. That's strange that I just sniffed that.
Probably.
So you take a gloved finger and you rub it on your cup. Now your cup has to be spray painted black. It doesn't work as well if your cup is not spray painted black, because it has to have that black base color for it to be able to change color from there. So you're going to spread it across your cup. Now, this is one that you can you're probably going to see brush strokes with. Now, the reason for adding the water is to thin it out some, so that you don't see as many of those, you know, the lines in between the brush strokes. So, now, of course, this cup is matte black. I didn't do a semi-gloss or anything like that. It smells a little too pretty to be like a chemical or something. It's kind of concerning. My 1-year-old would probably eat it. He'd probably think it was a nice little tasty snack. He eats everything.
Like everything?
Yeah, like everything. So, I have read that you have to do a few coats on it. You do as many coats as you want to do on it. Once each coat dries, you'll be able to see the color change a little bit. And then if it's not as much of a color change as you would like, it tells you to do another layer. So I'm just going back and trying to get out some of those lines. Make sure you get the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry a little bit. Now, I have seen people do, and after they do all of the layers of liquid crystal, I've seen where they will go back and they will mix glitter into the epoxy, and it makes it look super cool. They don't recommend you adding it into or under the liquid crystal, like doing black spray paint, doing a glitter base underneath that, and then doing liquid crystal on top. They don't recommend that, but they do say that you can mix it in with your top layer of epoxy to give it a shimmer. So I've seen the way it looks when they do that, and it looks wicked cool. Like, super cool. And of course, I'm probably going to turn this into a Harry Potter cup because I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. Any Harry Potter nerds out there? That's me. So, any other questions about the rhinestones? Since we're waiting for this to dry. No more questions?
Not yet, no.
You're all quiet.
Still 40 people watching.
Oh. So, I gotta tell you guys about this fun thing that we're doing in my area. Okay? Totally not Tumbler related. I mean, kind of. I gave one of my custom tumblers away today.
I need to charge your phone. It's at 10%. I know, but if I go to use this, it's not going to be long enough. I'm going to be like back here trying to. So, talk to your people.
He gives the phone to me. So, there's this thing that everybody in our area is doing. It's called the Wine Fairy. And people are going around and putting together wine, like bottles of wine. And they're putting them in gift bags. And they're going in and dropping them off at other adults' houses. So, this is a very fantastic opportunity for people to get their name out there. I gave a couple wine glasses away today. One of them said, "I've been wined." I did some holographic vinyl on it. And I put them in the bags and gave them away and put my business card in them. So I gave another one away that was a stainless steel wine glass. And they have already visited my page and have already spoke about wanting to order another cup. She was super stoked about it. And she tried to ask me if I could do one for Mother's Day, and no. That's physically impossible, I think. Not unless I used Fast Set on a dark cup. And then it would still be pushing it, because, yeah, no. I don't know who does that. I'll probably take my heat gun to this. Or I'll come back after it's dry and post pictures of it or something like that. Does anybody have any questions? Here you go. Give the phone back to him. I have to tell them about where'd the thing go?
Oh my God. This thing?
Yeah, so here's a funny story, okay? Now, this may be offensive, but I have some friends, obviously you've seen by some of the cups that I post, are kind of R-rated. So my daughter was in here earlier helping me clean my craft room, and I had just demolded this mold and had it sitting up here, you know, just in plain sight, not thinking about my daughter, 8-year-old, coming to help me clean my room. Well, I get walked up to and say, "Mom, what is this?" Well, let's not talk about that, daughter. And then, apparently I didn't mix my epoxy completely correctly, because then she said it left sticky marks on her hands. Completely embarrassing. So don't leave your penis molds out everywhere, because your kids will come creeping and ask you what it is.
Ironically, Jennifer asked you make molds too, just as you were pulling that out. So she does make other non-perverted molds also.
Yes.
But having said that, she has some really weird friends.
I have really weird customers. Not friends. I mean, some maybe, but mostly they're customers.
This is true. And then, as Lisa said, is there any epoxy you would say to avoid?
Oh, you want to know what epoxy to avoid? I got one for you. So this
They claim to have fixed it.
This is the epoxy that you want to avoid. So I'm not trying to bash any other company. I ordered this during the Black Friday event. I got it in January, I believe, after waiting a month and a half. I put it on about 6 or 7 different cups, mixed it perfectly. I used I don't remember the epoxy.
Art.
No, I used something else before, and I mixed it perfectly. Mixed it to the directions. I didn't apply too much heat. I mixed it slowly and everything. Now these were cups that needed to be done the next day, and I ran out of my normal epoxy because I knew I had that coming in. So there were so many fish eyes in my cups. They were clean. I did not touch them with normal hands. They did not have any lint in them. They were cleaned with alcohol. I did not apply too much heat or anything like that. And there were so many dimples it looked like a golf ball.
Yeah, it was faux rizzle, Shannon.
Yeah, it was faux rizzle. Yeah, it was terrible. And so I contacted the company and I asked them, you know, because they did have bad batches go out around Black Friday. They said that they hired extra help because of their 50% off, or they had like a big sale I remember getting it for. And they hired some extra people and they mixed some of the epoxies, like they have different kinds of epoxies. Well, they mixed the bottles up with the labeling and they labeled some of them wrong, so I could have like an A of one of their Nuevo brands, and then I could have a B of the, you know, the FX, you know, the Fox Rizzle UV. So they aren't chemically supposed to be mixed together. So that was terrible. It was terrible. Actually, I think I got it during Christmas. It was like right before Christmas.
Yeah, it was around the Black Friday.
Yeah.
You did get it for Black Friday.
I got it for Black Friday, but I was working on Christmas orders because I remember it was that World of Warcraft cup.
Yeah.
And a couple of other cups that it did it to. And you can see they sent me replacements. The replacements did not do that. I don't have any problems with the replacements that they sent me, but I still have these 2 big bottles sitting over there that I will not use because it messed up every single cup that I put it on.
Carrie, ask where you got your pink gloves from.
I got these from Amazon. I did get some other gloves. These are from a place called Elegance, elegance.com. Gloves are really hard to come by right now, so I ordered a couple of boxes of them once I found them. This company seems to be getting some in every couple of weeks, so I keep a watch on this company, and there's also a tattoo company that has gloves as well, but they're rather pricey. I think these were maybe $4 or $5 a box when I ordered them, and then the shipping wasn't outrageous. But the tattoo company that I was looking for, the tattoo company is for, you know, tattoo artists that need the gloves and things like that while they're tattooing, and they were very expensive, and I think their shipping was like $20 or something. And you're ordering a couple of boxes of gloves, and you pay just as much for shipping as you do for the gloves. So I actually waited until I found this brand, the Elegance, and I went to their website and ordered them.
Lisa said she was excited about the Glitter Craze announcement about the upcoming epoxy in June. Jennifer said that she saw some pretty bad conversations from the owner of Faux Rizzle, and said Shannon said they used to be great. Jennifer said he cursed people out who were so kind. I even heard audio of him being off the chain disrespectfully.
Yeah,
calling,
he called a lady a
calling
bitch.
the customer names. Yeah.
Yeah, he called a lady a bitch. I mean,
Jennifer says she doesn't bash anyone, but I couldn't believe what I was hearing from the owner's mouth. It was disgusting. I would never buy from them.
There was also, I think it was that, and it was also emails going back and forth between the owner and some of his customers, and he was calling the lady like all kinds of names in writing, and even signed his name to those emails.
Oh, there were a ton of laughing faces about your dick mold, by the way. Anyway.
He doesn't like to talk about the dick mold.
Of course I don't. Me as who in
told
their
me
right mind
I
wants...
asked him what color to do it, and
that's not a topic that you're gonna... No, I'm kidding. Go
I
ahead.
asked you what color to do it, and you told me to do it black. So. And it's sparkly. It's the Diamond Series, Glitter Craze Diamond Series Black. So it's got the colors of the rainbow. It's got a vein. So, never mind. So this is dry. So if you look at it, you can see where my hand is. That's super wicked.
That is cool.
So that is the liquid crystal that is on my cup. You can see it changing colors. I don't know if you can see it as well in the video.
You absolutely can.
That is so cool. I'll probably go back and do another layer
Hold it for longer, probably.
of liquid crystal so that it'll be a stronger of a color change. And you can also see like some of the brush strokes here where it didn't get in between, you know, in some spots. So it didn't get 100% coverage on it. But that's pretty damn cool. That's pretty wicked. So, yeah, I'll probably go back and do a couple more layers of it. Just to make sure it has complete coverage on it. But that is on a black matte base. And then I mixed the liquid crystal with a tiny bit of water just to make it a little bit more easier to apply, because it's a very thick mixture that's in here. So I just mixed it with a little bit of water just to make it to where it's a little bit smoother to apply. And then I'll go back and I'll probably do another layer of 2. This is how much I have left in there. And there's barely any missing out of this little container. So it seems like it's going to go a good ways. I could probably do quite a few cups with it, which is super cool.
Lisa says she has normal medical non-latex gloves. Will those work? I would imagine yes.
Yes, I believe they will. I think some people are using vinyl gloves, but I'm not really sure.
Jennifer says she's never seen a mold like what you have. Suzanne said that's badass. Talk about the cup. And Stephanie said their new glitter shape mix would go great with that mold. And then laugh.
The happiness.
You're so dumb.
That is what she's talking about. It's weed leaves and it's penis shapes.
I don't understand why they got named that. Didn't you say Greg or whatever his name is the one that actually named them?
No.
Who named
John? Oh, you're talking about the squash that I found. The squash and zucchini that I found on that vinyl print that one time. That's not what I'm no.
Okay, never mind.
This is a glitter mix that is like little penises and balls, and it's got hemp leaves in it. Like, so it's called happiness.
I'm done.
You get it?
I got it. Shannon said I have a 20-ounce tumbler like that. It's cool, thinking it will be a birthday gift for my... I'm totally changing topic, by the way. Stephanie said, yes, is the glitter she was talking about.
See?
Jennifer said, is this live for questions about everything? This is neat. Tutorialists should do more of these. If so, how do you store your glitter? Stephanie said...
That is a fantastic
Stephanie
question.
just said, that's it. And then she put a laughing face. And then Carrie said, yes. And Stephanie said, ding, ding, ding. Suzanne has laughing faces.
See, that's why I'm so good at guessing those glitters.
I know.
I study.
Obsession. Storing glitter?
Glitters. Okay, so this is how I store my glitter for what I can fit on my turner.
These lives are very unorthodox, by the way. They come with an original topic.
It's not as bad as Lindsay and Tammy talking earlier about her rubbing her cup off. So, I mean, it could be worse. So this is my glitter turner. Cameron built this for me. He's also in the group because he likes to monitor my glitter spending and my glitter addiction. So, this doesn't fit my collection.
You're gonna have liquid crystal in your hair now, by the way.
That's fine. It'd be super cool. This isn't all of my.
That's just one of the turners. She wants me to make another one.
I need probably about 3 more because I have more in those boxes in there. Somebody commented on my last live and said, "Oh my God, you keep them in the U-line boxes." Yes, I do. In little plastic trash cans. That is correct. Yeah.
Shannon said you're funny. Jennifer said, "Ooh, I love that." I'm assuming she's talking about the turner.
She's talking about this. Okay.
She's not talking about the mold. And then Stephanie says, "I love this group. That's so cool." And then Carrie said that was hilarious. She's not talking about the mold. She's talking about the turner that has the glitter stored on it that I made because it's so funny and so awesome. And
You don't know that.
Shannon said, "I love it. So happy I found y'all." We are too. We're happy you guys are here.
Yeah, we
all
this is like
33,
entertaining
34,
ourselves at,
up to
like,
40
11
of you
o'clock at
guys.
night, so yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, this is how we do it. But yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. She said the turner for glitter.
Oh. I mean, it's alright.
You wanted to put another coat on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put another coat on it.
Thank you, Stephanie. She said you can make straw topper. That is a straw topper.
It is. Oh, it is. Here, I'll show you. What did I do with it?
It is a straw topper.
Boom.
This is why we can't have nice things.
But my only concern is if you how do you seriously? We're not gonna go there. Tanny might kick me off the page if I go there.
Oh God. Yeah. So Stephanie said you could make the straw toppers. I've already said that. Jennifer said, "Did you make the mold too?" Yes, she made the mold. No, she did not make the mold.
No, I got the.
She bought the mold.
This mold, I figured it was 2X rated for Glitter Craze to get, because it's pretty X rated. So I actually got that off of Etsy. And it was called a Prince Albert or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lisa asked, "Did he make your cup turners?" Yes, I did.
Yes, he did.
I made all 12 of them.
Yes. And then I have my Old Faithful over there, which is that blue one. I got that blue one, and it was my first ever cup turner. That I turned my first ever cup.
Oh, did I make the mold? No, I didn't make the mold. I could not make the mold for the sake of, I guess, the risque side of it. I don't know. I would feel uncomfortable making it.
He's too afraid of it.
We're thinking
with some boobies, he'd be fine.
Because everyone loves boobies. I did make the turners. Stephanie said epic. She said, Lisa said, awesome job on the glitter holder. Thank you. And Shannon put a face that's like, which is hilarious. That's super funny. I did get it. You're fine. And Lisa said that's amazing. So she's putting that second coat of the liquid crystal on now.
Yeah, it's all turned green for the most part. You can kind of see it in the light. It's all different colors. Maybe that straw topper just doesn't go on top of a skinny. That's gotta be what it is, right? Like, if you put it in, like, a regular, it wouldn't be all up in your nose and stuff, right?
Carrie said, can you please give instructions on how to make the turners? I am more than happy to. That may be a live that I will probably have to do. Just because it's...
The wiring.
The wood part is not complicated. It's just, you can get Lowe's to cut it all for you if you have the dimensions. The wiring is the part that ends up getting complicated. Because there's, unless you understand electrical, you got to understand where the fire's coming from, where the ground is going to go, where the neutral wire is. A lot of that is, and I'm more than happy to break that down. I had to go by wiring diagrams and stuff like that. I've made wiring diagrams.
I would electrocute myself if I played with wires.
So
that's why I'm not allowed to play with
I could show you guys how I did it, maybe on another live, if I ever had to make another one. Or I could just give kind of a brief rundown of how it works. But there's a ton of YouTube videos about how to make them, too. So I don't know if that helps you guys for, maybe being able to understand how they're made, because they've already documented it and whatnot. But definitely happy to do it if you guys need help with it. Shannon,
glitter turner. You can do one on the glitter
yep.
turner. Shannon
said, a handy husband. I do what I can. And then Jennifer said, you said so proudly, oh, I made that. So that's where that came from. And Jennifer, you're asking my name or her name? Because her name is Heather. My name is Cameron.
Yeah, he's in the group.
And then, Stephanie said that's a foreign language to me. I'm assuming you're talking about all the wiring stuff that I was talking about. So, yeah, she doesn't get it.
Oh, I gotta take this off. This just isn't gonna work.
yeah, I'm happy to kind of break down how you build them. Like I said, the wood cutting part is not difficult. It's the wiring that ends up being a pain, and it's just the measurements. It's just understanding that side and really being able to follow the circuitry behind it.
You've got glitter on your forehead.
I always do.
There's glitter everywhere in my house.
Yeah, my name is Cameron. She asked what my name was, and I'm happy to send a blueprint of the way I ended up doing a wiring of how it works. Because I have a thing on my iPad where I actually drew up all the wiring. She thought I was super weird because I was over here one night. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I'm drawing wiring diagrams so that I understand how to do it." You're welcome. I try. She said hi to me and then thank you. You're welcome. But yeah, so she's applied another coat of the liquid
So
crystal.
the only thing that I notice about this is that you have to be, like, I was very careful with it, but it seems like some of the first layer is kind of moving. It's, yeah. So if you do it, make sure that you very gently apply the next layer on top of the first layer, because it seems as though the first layer somewhat comes off when you rub the next layer on. And which also makes it a lot harder for you to get all of the lines out, because if I'm scared to go back over it again to get some more of the lines out, because I may rub more of the first layer off, which would not be good.
Lisa, you're asking if the top of the box of the actual turners themselves do not turn cups. They're just for drying.
Those are the drying racks. So after about 4 hours, your epoxy starts to somewhat set. It's still tacky, however, it doesn't need to continue to turn. So you can actually stand them up on these with the PVC pipe. You could take this off of here and stand it up on the top so that it can continue to set, but it doesn't actually have to continue to turn. Because it is already self-leveled and it's gone into the tacky part and the hardness to where it's not going to run down your cup or anything like that. So, yeah.
Carrie asked if I'll put out a supply list for the cups. I'm happy to do that. If I don't end up getting a chance to do it, she'll remind me and I'll do it. So,
always remind you.
Jennifer said, "Have you used the quick set or fast set?"
I have. I love the fast set. I have to say that is what I did these cups with. So I made my first one of these cups one afternoon. I saw somebody did one in the group and it looks super awesome. It's just a wood grain. It's a 25-ounce stemless wine glass. They call it a football tumbler. And I used fast set for this for the first 3 layers I think I did on this one. You cannot use the fast set as the top layer. And the reason for that is it is not UV resistant, which means that in the light it will start to turn amber. It will start to yellow. Now in a cup like this it probably wouldn't matter as much, but if you had a white cup like this and it started to yellow, your customer's probably going to be pretty pissed off. So they don't recommend it being the top layer of the cup. But after about 2 or 3 hours, I can pick it up and hold it just like this. It's hard. I can do another layer of epoxy. I finished a cup. I delivered a cup today that I started on Thursday, and it was a chunky glitter. It was, I think it was Gangster. And then I did Diamond Dust up at the top. And I delivered it this afternoon because I did fast set with it. And then I did the final layer. She knew it was not completely set yet, but she gave it to her brother, or her sister. She's giving it to her sister tomorrow. So she knows that it's not set yet or anything like that, but she had to have something to give to her for her birthday. So, Yeah, I finished that cup super fast, and all of you guys know if you do chunky glitter, that shit takes like 6 coats of epoxy. I think I did 4 coats of fast set in a day. And then I did a coat, I stuck the name to it, and then I did a coat of the regular epoxy. And that shit was ready to roll this morning. Like,
Jennifer asked, what
awesome.
size jump rings do you use for your keychains?
I got all of my jump rings from Amazon. I got a kit. It was actually an earring making kit, but there's a kit for key rings as well. I don't remember what box that's in. Hold on, I'll show you.
Shannon said she got the fast set. She hasn't used it yet. It seems like from what I've heard, she recommends it pretty highly because it makes your life a whole lot easier.
And then also the one, I'm still waiting for my Glitter Craze one to come in.
So to follow up, Jennifer asked, is it the Glitter Craze fast set or a different brand?
It is not Glitter Craze yet. I am supposed to be getting my Glitter Craze fast set in on Tuesday. Permitted the USPS sticks to the original plan that they're going to have it here by Tuesday. It seems like sometimes it takes forever. I ordered it before it was actually released, so I pre-ordered it. And I'm just waiting for it to come in, but I have high hopes about it. I am going to use it as soon as it gets here to see what it's like. I'm sure it's going to be just as fabulous as the other brand I've used. I'm super stoked about it. Like, I love fast set. I do all my molds in fast set. It does get hot. You have maybe 10 to 15 minutes of work time, and you will start to feel it when you put it on your cup. If you've waited a little bit longer, it will be warm to the touch because it is already having a chemical reaction between the A and the B, and it is starting to warm up. You will also see in your cup that when it does warm up, it's going to pop a majority of your bubbles. It gets a lot hotter than what a normal epoxy gets because the chemical reaction between the two sides is a lot faster. It gets pretty hot. I've seen videos of people's, not with the Glitter Craze, but with other brands. I don't know anything about the Glitter Craze yet because I'm anticipating the arrival of it. But I've seen people's mold smoke and things like that because it does get really hot.
Jasmine asked where you buy your glitter from. Glitter Craze, all of it. I need a black. Every time I put my epoxy over my black, it's not shiny anymore. Carrie says, I love Jack Daniels.
What?
Carrie says she loves Jack Daniels.
Yes, I sold the first one on my page within 4 minutes. I posted it. It was a demo cup. I just did it for fun because I saw someone else do it and I wanted to see how it would turn out. And I sold it within 4 minutes of posting a picture of it. It was not even epoxied yet.
Yeah.
And then I sold the next one. I think it was like 20 minutes after that one. She asked me to make her one. And then the third one, I haven't found a buyer for yet.
It won't be long.
Yeah,
if nothing else, I'll drink from it.
They're all epoxied and ready to go. But 90% of my glitter is 97% of my glitter is Glitter Craze. They have the best prices that you can find. You get almost 4 ounces of glitter for if you catch a sale, which everything is always on sale. If you catch the BOGO, you get 4 ounces of glitter for like $4.50. Impeccable pricing. Tammy always has a sale. She always has a giveaway. She's always showing techniques, her and Lindsay, about how to do a new style cup. A black glitter that is going to still shine under epoxy is the Diamond Series Black, which is what my penis straw topper is made out of. Go figure, right? It has silver shavings in it. It almost has like a holographic in it. Another one is there's a holographic black that shows the rainbow through it. I can't remember the name of it right now. I know I have some. It's under there, but
Okay, so just to kind of catch up on questions. Jennifer, forgive me, I guess this was a minute ago. Glad you're mentioning that because most probably don't know that. Any other tips for applying it? I'm not sure what that might be in reference to.
Yeah, don't get scared if the epoxy gets really hot. That is very, very normal. Quick set, if it's not a UV quick set, you have to put another type of epoxy over it because it will yellow. That is the key thing about it. You cannot use, unless your cup is dark and you're not worried about it yellowing and being able to see it. This cup, you probably wouldn't be concerned about it yellowing because it looks pretty damn yellow as it is. Now, if you have a white cup and you put all UV or all fast set on this, this is going to turn yellow, very yellow. That's what. But if you put a UV resistant epoxy over this, you will not have
Your
that
last coat is
the
always.
last coat is always a UV resistant epoxy.
Lisa, is the fast set used more over chunky glitter? She's used it more over the chunky glitter because it's made her life easier. You can use the regular on over the chunky. It just takes a lot more time. Carmen, so you put glitter, then fast set, then dry, then epoxy.
I use the epoxy method for applying my glitter, which means I put epoxy on my cup. I put fast set epoxy on my cup. I spread it out. I heat it up a little bit, and then I go right after and I glitter my cup. And then I let that sit for maybe an hour or two, and I go back over it with another layer of fast set to get it smooth. If it still isn't smooth, I wait about 2 hours. It's generally hard and to the touch after 2 hours. And then you go back over it with another layer of epoxy. It is set in 4 hours. So I can probably do an entire cup, except for the last layer of epoxy, in 1 day. Glittered cup.
Robin asked, what's your Facebook name? It's just Heather Riggs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My Facebook name is Heather Riggs.
And Jasmine said,
R-I-G-G-S, not G.
which black from Glitter Craze? You said the Diamond Series?
Mm-hmm.
And I think she said yes. I think she said thank you, about to go order, like she knew which one was which.
Yes, so Black Beauty.
Well, she said midnight. Jennifer said midnight, question mark?
It might be midnight.
She says that the black holographic you were referencing earlier.
Black Beauty is very pretty. It's not the holographic. I think my Diamond Series is all up here in my Diamond Series. This is the Diamond Series Black. You can see that it has all the different colors in the glitter. It has like silver shards in it that makes it look like it has partly holographic glitter, which is, I know it's pretty vulgar, but if you look, I know, I'll try to cover up the bad parts, but if you look at it, this is what it looks like while it's in epoxy. You can see all of the colors of the rainbow in the shards of it. Like, it sparkles like none other. The whole Glitter Craze, or the Diamond Series, is phenomenal. I have every color in the Diamond Series.
She's not spoiled.
I have that one somewhere. It's probably out here somewhere. But yeah, there's a holographic. If you type in holographic into the search bar of the Glitter Craze website, it will pull up every single holographic, or you could just type in HOLO and it will pull up every holographic glitter that they have on their site. A holographic glitter is the type that you do the tack it method with. I've done a tack it method, and it is drop down gorgeous. Like, it is beautiful. You turn it and it shows the whole color of the rainbow. It is gorgeous. I love doing the tack it method cups. They're very smooth. There's no chunky glitter involved. My favorite cup to do, besides a wood grain or something like that.
You ready to wrap it?
Yeah. Yeah, see.
Any other questions? There's still 32 people watching. Since it's midnight, happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Yes, happy Mother's Day, everybody. See, this is what it looks like right now. That's with its second layer. Some of the parts have not dried completely, but you can see the color change is definitely there, which is super cool. That's going to be an awesome cup. I'll probably do, once it completely dries, I may do one more layer of the liquid crystal just to make sure that all of the voids are filled in, because the first layer is somewhat kind of rubbed off when I put the second layer on. And then I will probably jazz it up or something like that into my epoxy when I put it over the cup. And then I'll probably do a Harry Potter logo, the crest logo or something like that on it, and epoxy it again. And keep it for myself, you know. But, yeah. Once again, at the end of all my videos, I tell everybody to don't hesitate to reach out to me. Message me in my inbox if you have any other questions about water slides or liquid crystal or rhinestone cups or anything of that nature, fast set.
Yeah, Kendra asked what fast set is, so just message her. She'll go over everything. So the
fast set just means that it sets in like 4 hours instead of the 6 to 8 hours for normal epoxy. It's a fast set epoxy, which means that you can most likely do a complete cup with about 6 layers of epoxy in a day, because you can epoxy every 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours, because the epoxy is hard to the touch and it's already set. So,
several people saying Happy Mother's Day. Jasmine says she wants to try the tack it method.
Yes.
Jennifer said,
come back and do a live about that if somebody doesn't know how to do the tack it method.
Yeah, Jennifer said Starry Night's a microfine black hollow, I believe.
Yes, that is what it's called.
Anne said, just jumping in, how'd you apply the liquid crystal? I don't know if you want to go over that real fast.
Yeah, I poured the liquid crystal into my cup. I put a drop or two of water to thin it out because it's more of a pasty consistency. And when it's a thick consistency like that, it's going to leave a lot of brush strokes and lines in between it. And then I applied it onto a matte black base. I spray painted my cup matte black, and then I applied it with a gloved finger. And I let it dry, and then you typically want to do 2 to 3 layers of what I was told. This one has 2 layers on it right now, and it has a very strong color change. Super cool. I'm super excited about it. So
cool. And then Jasmine said, Happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you for answering all my questions. My first time watching. I'll be watching the next time. Jennifer said, I can inbox you. What?
Yes.
And she said, respond. You will be sorry. Lisa said, thanks for the info. She said, I rock. Thank you. Kendra said, is that the brand? I'm assuming she's talking about Fast Set. And then Carrie says,
Fast Set, it comes in different brands. It's just the type of epoxy that it is. Glitter Craze has their brand. Counterculture has their brand. I'm using Counterculture right now. However, as soon as my Glitter Craze epoxy comes in, that is what I will be using from now on. I feel like I'm going to love it because Tammy wouldn't release anything that is not up to par or better than her
competitors. Yeah, so, true. Carrie says she needs to know how to use her Cameo 4. Message us, we'll help you. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. And then Jennifer says, I'm saying I had so many questions. Anne says she tried hers for the first time tonight. I think I did something wrong. I think she's talking about the liquid crystal, maybe.
Really?
This live is packed with vitamins and minerals, is what Jennifer said.
I like to pack my lives. This is my second live I've ever done in my entire life. I like to pack them with tons of information. If you missed the beginning of the live, I take Sharpie markers and I go back and I go over this. This had some Mod Podge streaks in it that were white. So I go back over with a permanent marker. You could do that with any of your cups. If it's black, if something chipped off, or if there's a piece of glitter in it. Yeah, and it's a black cup. Take a black permanent marker and dot that thing up. You will never know. Just make sure you seal it with clear acrylic spray paint, like Rust-Oleum, and it will not smear or anything like that. So that was my #1 tip. Yeah. And then highlighters are your girl's best friend. Highlight up you some cups. I will probably come back and do another Alice in Wonderland, and I will show you guys how I go in and highlight a cup.
Tina said thanks for the info. First time watching. Anne said it repelled off of her cup, so she's tried tack it and tried applying it, and it's not working.
You're talking about the tack it method?
I'm assuming. I'm not sure. That might have been what she was talking about. I tried mine for the first time. I think I did something wrong. Well, she can do a live on that if need be.
Yeah, I can do a live on the tack it method. That's no big deal at all. I have everything that I need to be able to do it. I have tons and tons and tons of holographic glitter.
She's addicted. So Kendra said, you guys are great. Thanks for everything. Jennifer said, please come back and do more. Shannon said, wow, you're a pro at it.
Not really.
She just spends more time than anybody I've ever seen.
I do a lot of research on it. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of watching other people and how they do it. I ask a lot of questions to other people when I don't understand something. And I will never tell anything to you guys that I don't fully understand or have not tried myself. So I'm never going to put you in a hard position with a cup that, like a crackle method, and then because I'm not experienced with those. I suck at those, by the way. I would never do a live on a crackle cup because I can't do them. I'll leave that to the pros like Lindsay and, Tammy and them, but, I would never give you guys any information that I'm not 100% sure about.
Cool. And then Jennifer said thanks to both of us for everything. Anne said the liquid crystal. Yeah, she's talking about liquid. That's kind of sucks. Sorry.
That's kind of sucks.
And then Carmen
Inbox
said
me.
Happy Mother's Day. Good night. And on that note,
Good night.
everybody have a good evening. Thanks for stopping in. Bye, you cool crafting critters.
Oh, no.